Alright then, today we are going to be discussing a very difficult topic for a lot of immigrants, which is the guilt of leaving your parents when you're moving abroad. I can't believe we are discussing this topic, but Darshan and I talk about this in detail, and we have realized that it's a very difficult topic for a lot of immigrants to address, but it's important to also talk about difficult topics and normalize that. And again, everyone's experience is going to be very different and individual in this case, and our goal with this video is just to help us give you perspective on what our situations were, and it's very, very different, and how we are dealing with it. Hopefully you will find some of this relatable, and if you will have your own experience, definitely share it with us, and we would love to learn as well. So let's get straight into the topic of dealing with guilt of leaving your aging parents back home. This is part of our series Desi Way, where we talk about immigrant topics on a daily life. Hi, I'm Priya from It's Okay Yaar, and welcome back to our channel. If you're new today, It's Okay Yaar is a content platform for South Asian immigrants, and we aim to educate, entertain and empower them. We have spoken about this topic at length on Instagram, but usually we have tried to mask it with a ton of humor, and we have never addressed it head on. Darshan actually wrote a blog about seeing your parents get old on screen, and I will link that on the description box. But today we are going to confront this topic head on, so stay tuned. Now, to keep the video structured and coherent, this is what the flow is going to look like. First, we are going to be discussing two perspectives. One is going to be my perspective, and the second is going to be Darshan's perspective. Then we are going to be talking about how we both deal with the guilt of leaving our parents behind. Then we are going to talk about how we dealt with a couple of emergency situations. We'll talk about some thoughts, and would love to hear your thoughts in the comment box, where we will discuss this in greater detail. And yes, if you like our work, please like, share and subscribe. It will motivate us to bring more valuable content for you. So first, I'm going to be sharing my perspective. I am Priya, and I was born and raised in Durgapur, West Bengal, which is a small town. That is where I have spent majority of my education till the 12th standard. And if you are from a small town, and if you have big dreams, and if you are ambitious, then it's very natural for your parents to always encourage you to actually move and leave that town, to move to a bigger city or move to a different place, to be actually able to pursue what you want to pursue. So that was the case for both me and my brother. We left our homes in the 12th standard, and at this point, that means that I have spent way too many years away from my home than actually living at home with my parents. However, our parents were our biggest cheerleaders, and this is where we got lucky. So if you are from a small town, and hopefully you have parents who are very, very encouraging, and if you're ambitious, you definitely have a similar story where you always knew early on that you will eventually be moving outside. So when it came to the decision of me moving to the US, it was not really a big deal for my parents. They were very supportive and wanted me to pursue my dreams and experience something new. But no matter how encouraging your parents are and how big of a cheerleader they are, when you're moving to a new country, you definitely have a lot of guilt, and I'm going to talk about that and how I dealt with that guilt later in that video. But let's hear the second perspective, which is Darshan's perspective. Darshan is born and raised in Mumbai, and like any other Mumbaikar, the love for the city of Mumbai is so deeply rooted that they have never ever imagined of moving to a different city in India, let alone moving to a different country. Of course, when you're from a small town, you're looking to move to greener pastures, but that's not the case for anyone who is born and raised in the city. So for Darshan, even when he worked in Pune or when he pursued his education in Ahmedabad, he was always looking forward to coming back to Mumbai or looking for ways to moving back. When his friends were pursuing masters in the US or were moving abroad, that was not a thought that had crossed his mind. So when after getting engaged, he was pursuing this idea of moving to the US, it was extremely difficult for him and his parents to understand and process why this is happening, because they had never gotten comfortable with this idea of him actually leaving Mumbai and staying anywhere else. But again, his parents were also very supportive, and they wanted him to try newer things and have newer experiences. So they were definitely open to the idea of him living in the US for a couple of years, seeing whether he likes it, and then he could eventually move back. Of course, not everyone's parents are this way, and we completely understand that. And of course, we are lucky to have people who have been such cheerleaders. But the idea behind sharing both of our perspective is that we both come from very different places and we both have very different experiences. So hopefully you can relate to some aspect of it, because we are going to be talking about how we both deal with this guilt of leaving our parents. To give you a little bit of a glimpse, Darshan talks at home every single day for at least 10 minutes. However, I speak at home weekly for an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours where we share everything. So again, we both have different ways of communication, and that's just a glimpse of how we talk and make sure that we are continuing to stay closer to our parents. So once you have accepted that there is some guilt, here are a couple of things that you can do. The first thing is talking to your parents and getting them to open up. Like we said, Darshan talks to his parents 10 minutes every day, and that is the way that they feel more comfortable checking in on each other and understanding that everything is fine. For me, it's really important to supremely deep dive into their lives and really ask them questions, so that Indian parents who have this unique ability to mask all of the negative things and just tell you that everything is fine, everything is going okay, even if their healths are not fine, even if they haven't felt that well, or if there are some issues that are happening at home, they are able to mask it. So what works really well for me is talking to them for hours at length, where I can ask them these probing questions and really get to the point if they are trying to hide something from me. So the idea behind sharing this is figure out what works for you, what your relationship is, and how you can get them to open up so that you're aware of what is happening in their lives. And one tip that works really well for us is start by sharing everything about your own life. Tell them how is your work going, tell them when your next vacation is, show them things around. The more you share, the more connected they feel, and then that is when they feel more comfortable sharing things about themselves. So give them a glimpse of your life, show them what your new life looks like, and just bring them in your journey, and that will just give them a lot more comfort to tell you things even when it's not perfect back home. So the next one is shut out negative comments and anything negative that is coming from your relatives. Again, it is easier said than done, because our parents are living a completely different reality than what we are living. They have a completely different set of friends, and it becomes extremely difficult for them to hang out if their peer group has all of their kids living with them. However, it's important to have these open conversations with your parents and help them understand or help them navigate situations when they hear snarky comments like, who is going to take care of you in your old age, and helping them prepare how to navigate certain situations more comfortably. I'll give you an example. Actually, when my brother was moving to the US last year, a lot of people asked my parents, what are they going to do in their old age? And to that, my mom's retort was that your son lives with you, but now that you're 40, he's looking to move out, and how is that helping you? Of course, pointing out situations is harder, like I said, but again, the important part is shutting out the negativity and doing what works the best for you. And the next one is invite them to visit you, and which I'm sure all of us are already doing, but when they are able to actually come here and experience the life that you are living and get a glimpse of this life, it makes them happy, it makes you happy, because the reality is a lot of Indian parents have spent most of their lives giving their children the best things, and they have not taken care of themselves, either enjoying or traveling or doing any of that stuff. So this is our time, especially when we are living abroad, to actually invite them and help them experience something completely different, so that when they go back, they have something exciting to talk about. And remember to visit often. You know, it goes without saying, but we try to save a lot of our vacations and save a lot of our money to make sure that we are visiting India. But when you are there, try to give them your undivided attention, try to spend as much time with them, have meals together, understand how they are feeling, like really have those open conversations and create that safe space with your parents where they're able to share everything, and they know that you will be visiting a couple of times, and they are able to visit you. So that way it just creates a very healthy relationship, and it just does not seem as daunting that it did when you had initially moved. The next piece we want to talk about is how to deal with emergency situations. The best way to deal with emergency situations is having a support system. Again, if you are from a small town and not in a big city, there is a high chance that a lot of your friends, family, relatives, neighbors live around, and you have a good support system that you can fall back on. Of course, it's not the same as having your kids being there, and that's not what we are trying to say, but having a support system gives you some sort of assurance that things are going to be taken care of. And we have done that in our back home, especially when my brother was moving here. It was a little difficult for us to understand how to manage if there was an emergency situation, but then we have a lot of people who we trust around who actually take care of our parents, and our parents love spending time with them, and they have a really active social life. So I feel it is taken care of. However, it's important to do that, especially when you're living in a city as well, and maybe not a lot of your relatives and friends live around. It's important to understand what support system works the best for your parents. So for example, in Darshan's situation, his sister is still back home in India. Of course, she doesn't live in Mumbai, she lives in a different city, but just having her around gives them that assurance that if something happens, they're going to be there. But the reality of the situation that happened was during 2020 when Darshan's whole family actually got COVID, and actually his sister was also not able to travel. When everything was shut down, we were able to get a lot of support from neighbors around who were helping out with food. We were able to call a couple of agencies and help situations that can help us navigate the hospital situation in case that arose. So we were able to coordinate and talk to them multiple times a day and really understand what was going on in their lives. Again, these situations are not ideal, but it's important to build support systems when you are not there. To be really honest, even before moving to the US, when I was not living in Durgapur and my brother had also moved abroad, we had started building that support system from early on. So honestly, all we did when we moved to the US was added a couple of extra things and just made sure that we had that cushion, but we had been building that for a long time. For Darshan, it just took a little more, it was a little more harder because that was not something they had prepared for ever. So it was just starting from scratch, but we were able to navigate, and now we feel comfortable that there are people who will be there to take care of them if his sister is not able to immediately make it, or if it takes us a little longer to come there. So if you're in a phase where you're contemplating if I should be moving abroad or staying in India, I would just recommend that give it a shot and try and experience something new. And if it doesn't work out, then you can always move back. Because you know, if you really talk to your parents, it is going to give them immense joy to see you grow and experience something new and try something new. So have that conversation, and because you know, if you really talk to them and they realize that you are not trying something new or pursuing experiences because you fear what is going to happen to them, that's actually going to make them more sad. Yeah, you know, so seeing you grow and seeing you figure things out is actually going to give them a lot more happiness. So I would recommend pursuing it. And again, there can be a whole argument about the fact कि बाहर जाना ही क्यों है? India is a wonderful country. यहाँ पे सब कुछ तो है. And the reality is हर जगह पे सब कुछ तो है. But it is all about experiencing different things and understanding what works the best for you. So please don't let your fears hold you back, because that is going to make your parents even more sadder. So try it. And if it doesn't work, then you can always move back. And on a regular basis, we get a lot of comments and questions about the fact that should I just stay in India because I'm making so and so, or should I move to the US, especially if you are in a later stage in your life. If you want us to cover topics like that, please leave that in the comment box, and we were happy to cover, because we have people and friends who have been moving at very different life stages. So happy to share that experience. I hope you like this video, and if things are not going your way, remember, eventually it will turn around, and it's okay, yaar. This is Priya signing off. Have a wonderful day.